Nice to see you again. So I have decided today that we're going to do smarts and crafts. Now, this was a really good idea at the time. And then I suddenly realised how much preparation I needed to do to make sure that I could show it to you without it being a really boring video. So whether this is all going to work or not, I don't know, but we're going to have some fun anyway. So that's perfect. So I'm going to start with something very simple. My thinking for today, there's a bit of a theme. It's different things you could make for Easter because it's coming up to Easter time. So it's using items that you should have around the house, and it's making different things that you could use to decorate your house at or your flat at Easter time. So I'm going to start with something called a handprint bunny. So I'm going to turn the camera down. Now you're going to see lots and lots of bits and pieces. I've put some newspaper out on the surface so that I don't get any dirt on the surface, and then I can rub it up, screw it up and put it in the bin when I'm finished. So let's get started. So what we're going to do, you can use any piece of paper you've got at home. It doesn't matter. So you could use a normal A4 piece of paper. I've had a rummage through my cupboard and I have managed to find some of the stuff I brought with me from Stepping Stones. So I've got a blue piece of card. And what we're going to do to start with, you need a pen. And all you're going to do on one side of the card is you're going to draw around your hand. So you're going to go around, make sure your fingers are open when you do this. I'm going to go round your hand. Go really carefully so it's not too wide when you do it. There we go. And it should look like this. And then very carefully, we're going to use some scissors. Now, if this is a bit too tricky for you, please make sure you ask your grown-up, as we're probably getting used to me saying now. Ask your grown-up to help you with the cutting if it's too tricky or if the scissors you need to use are too sharp. So we're going to cut round the hand like this. Da-da-da. Now this is probably one of the bits I should have already done to save some time so you don't have to sit here and watch me cutting round the hand. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pause the video and come back to you when it's cut out so that it's not too boring for you. Ta-da! So I've cut out the hand. What I need to do now, if you have a look at the hand, you can see this part here where the thumb is a lot lower down than this part here where the little finger is. So we're going to make a little bit of a cut down there so that it equals up the two sides. So let's just do a little cut down there. And the other thing we don't need is we don't need this finger here. So we're just going to do a little bit of a cut around there to get rid of that finger so that we've got the two little bunny ears. And then we're just going to take this bit here and round it around the bottom. So it's like the bottom end of the rabbit. And then what we're going to do, these two bits, the thumb and the little finger, we're going to fold in as if they're the bunny's paws. So we've got a little bunny now. These are the ears. We've got the little bunny's paws. And now what we're going to do is we're going to draw on, or if you wanted to, you could use a coloured marker and you can draw on. You could use a pen, or I've actually got some paints in my house today, so you could use some paints if you wanted to. So I'm just going to give the bunny some little bits in the middle of his ears. And I've got some shiny paint, so it's going to give the bunny some shiny ears for Easter time. And then I'm going to use my little marker to draw the bunny's face. So we're going to do some feet at the bottom. So the bunny needs some little paws that are at the bottom. And then the bunny needs some eyes. And the bunny needs a little nose, a smiley face, some teeth, because bunnies have always got those funny teeth, and some little whiskers. And there you have it. A little handprint bunny ready for Easter. If you made a few of these, you could always put a little hole. Excuse me. You could always put a little hole in the top and then you could string them up. It'd be like a little bunting around your house. There's one. Now the next thing I've done, a lot of us have got lots of toilet roll around the house. So I have taken a used toilet roll and I've cut it into 3 sections. One of them I've kept as a little circle. 2 I've folded at the top and the bottom, and I've stuck them all together by getting some sellotape and folding it over, sticking the 2 ends together and using it to stick down the 2 ears and stick the 2 ears together. So what we're going to do, very simply, if you've got some paint at home, you just need a tiny little bit of paint. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to paint the bottom and we're going to use it a bit like a print. So we're going to paint the bottom of the ears. So one end is the end you're going to hold to keep your hands nice and clean. And the other end is the end you're going to paint. So we're going to paint round here, put on some paint. Now you could also put some paint into a little paint jar or an old plate if you ask your grown-up if they've got something around the house that they're not going to use anymore, or a little tray like an egg carton, and you can put your paint in and you can dab your little printer into the paint and then press it down on your piece of paper, and if you press hard enough, which I did not, you will have a little bunny print. Now inside here you can then do your drawing again. So you could make the middle of the ears, and you can make the bunny's eyes, and you can make the bunny's little nose, and you can make the bunny's little face, and some teeth, and some little whiskers. And there you have it, a little bunny printer. That's another one that we've done today. Now the next ones I've got to show you could be a little bit tricky. They might take a little bit of time. Now what I've chosen to do, again, I'm using another toilet roll tube. So I've used some paint and I've painted mine all the way round. You could colour yours in with a pen, or you could get some paper and you could just wrap the paper round and turn it into a different colour. So you need a little toilet roll tube, and then I've cut out and painted some other little bits. So we've got 2 ears. I've used some kitchen roll in the house, screwed it up into a ball, made it into a little tail, and we've got a little nose. We've got a face, and we've got something that resembles little feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all of this together and see if we can make something that looks like a bunny. So the first thing I'm going to do, now I found this in my bag as well from Stepping Stones, so I'm very fortunate I've got some glue. You can use sellotape otherwise if you haven't got glue, that's fine. So I'm just going to glue the back of the shape that looks like this. So I've used a piece of paper, I've kept the flat edge, and I've just cut it into a D shape. It looks like a D. So I've cut it into a D, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little blob of glue on the back of there, and I'm going to stick this down at the bottom of my rabbit. Now, what I think I might find is that because I've painted it, it might not stick. So I'm also going to use, I've cut up some little bits of sellotape. I'm going to use a little bit of sellotape as well to stick it down to make sure that the bottom end of the rabbit stays still. Now the paint, I only just painted this to make sure I had it ready to show you. Paint is still a little bit wet, so it might be a little bit tricky for me to stick the sellotape on. If you paint it, it means you might just need a little bit of time to let it dry. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my little bunny's face. So I'm going to give my bunny a little nose. And then I'm also, out of white paper, I have stuck some little whiskers. Cut, rather. Sorry, not stuck. What I'm now going to do is stick them. I'm going to stick these on the back of the little bunny's nose. So I've put some glue on the back, and I'm going to stick these on. It can be a little bit fiddly, can't it, when you've got paint or when you've got glue? It can be a little bit tricky. So I've stuck those on. I'm going to add another little bit of glue onto the back of there, and then I'm going to stick this into the middle of my bunny's little face, like this. Now the other thing I've done is I've drawn some little eyes. So I'm also going to stick my bunny's eyes on. I'll stick one side. Try not to get them lopsided. And we're going to stick one the other side. Like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the two ears that we've cut out. So I've cut out some little ears. They look like teardrop shapes, don't they? Or like a leaf. So we're going to stick these, and you need to do the pretty side, the side that you've decorated. That side needs to be the side that you stick just underneath the face. I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the bottom. Like this. And stick one ear on. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. Put some glue at the bottom. And stick that ear on. And then what I'm going to do, as if by magic, now we've got our little bunny face. Looks cute, doesn't he? He is now going to get stuck onto the top of the little bunny feet. There's my dog, Cooper. He's just having a little bit of a join in, letting everybody know that he's here. He's had a lovely day today. He's been out, sat on the grass, keeping himself happy, watching all the birds fly in the sky. So let's put on this little bunny's head. Again, this might not stick perfectly for me, but I'm sure for you guys it'll work much better. There we go, one little bunny. Now what I'm going to do with his little tail is I'm going to get some sellotape. With the sellotape, I'm going to wrap it round and stick it to itself. So it's like double-sided sticky tape. And I'm going to put that one side, and then I'm going to put his little tail just at the top, like that. If you've got little pom-poms at home, they'd probably work just as well. And there you have it, one little bunny. Now, if you want to add some little paws at the bottom, you just need to draw some little lines down there. And there you have it, one little bunny. Now, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a little chick. And this little chick I've started already. Again, it's using it out of a toilet roll. Nice and easy. Again, you can cover it with paper. I've painted mine, but you don't have to. So I've coloured it in, painted it all nicely, and then I've made some little bits and pieces to stick on my little Easter chick. So what I've done is, same again, I've used some white paper and I've made some little eyes. So let's stick the little eyes on our little chick. He will make a lot more sense to you in a minute. Let's put on one little eye and another little eye. So I just use some white paper and I drew some little blue circles inside to make it look like his eyes. There we go, there's his eyes. Next thing I did was I got some orange paper that I had, but again, if you've got some white paper at home, you can just colour it in. So I folded a little bit of orange paper in half, like this, and then I cut, again, you can ask your grown-up if you need some help, I cut a triangle shape out of the orange paper, and that's what I'm going to use as his little beak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on one side of the beak and not the other. So I'm going to put it on one side of my triangle and not the other. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick his little beak like this. And his little beak can open up. Ta-da! He looks quite cute now, doesn't he? So the next thing we need are some little feet. I'm going to use sellotape for these. So I have cut them out again using a folded up piece of orange paper, and I've just cut out a rough shape. Again, you can ask your grown-up to help you, or you can give it a go yourself as long as it's safe to use the scissors. I've cut out a little shape that looks like a foot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of sellotape. I'm going to stick the end of the foot. Oh, that bit might be a bit too thick because I don't really want it to show over the edge. Never mind. I'm going to put it on the end of the sellotape like this, and then I'm going to stick it up inside the chick, so that when he stands on his little feet. So there's one. Let's get some tape for the next one. Put the little foot on the bottom of the tape. Put his little foot next to his other little foot. There we go. So there's his two little feet. We've got them on. He's nearly done. You just need a couple more bits of sellotape. And we've made some little wings. So again, I took some yellow card like this, and I folded it over, and I cut out like a leaf shape on the card. Then I cut the card in half. So it gave me two shapes that were the same. Now on this one, I've made one end pointy and one end flat. So I can fold the flat end over, and that's the bit I'm going to stick to the duck or the chick, whatever you would prefer him to be. So I folded the end over, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it facing the back. So the bit that I folded over, I'm going to put facing the back, and I'm going to use a little bit of sellotape just to hold that down onto my little chick. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So the folded bit, I'm going to put facing the back, and I'm going to stick it down onto my little chick. And there you have it. So we've got a little Easter chick, and we've got a little Easter bunny, and we've got some printing that you could do to make your own little Easter bunny, and we've got a little handprint bunny that you could use maybe to make some bunting if you made a few of them. And if you all did this together as a family, that would be a lovely little family of bunnies, and you could keep those to show what you did during the lockdown. Have a lovely, lovely Easter, everybody, and I hope you have some fun with the arts and crafts. Take care.